Hello, we are the Techie Trio, and we are making a radio show, and our main theme is going to revolve around tech, modern issues, and food. The presenters are me and Lewis, and we are going to be talking in a calm manner, sort of discussing to each other and educating each other on our topics. We're going to expand on abstract views and um, try to address questions that the audience may have. On to the next slide.
Sorry.
So the first topic that we will talk about will be breakfast trends, because it's a breakfast show, so it made sense to start with breakfast. And we're going to be discussing the best breakfast choices. Lewis will tell me about them, and I will say my thoughts back, and we will kind of have a little bit of a friendly debate on the best choices of food. And this segment will last for roughly about 5 minutes, and we have also arranged a phone in to have that bit of audience interaction. We've decided to have the heaviest topic of the radio show be in the middle of our three main topics, to so that it kind of goes from a lighter mood to a slightly lower mood to a lighter mood again, so it's not too heavy. And we're going to talk about what has just passed in 2020, and how college students can move on with the best mindset they can into 2021. This segment will most likely not be ad-libbed, unlike the rest of the radio show, because some statistics and facts will probably need to be written down, since it's a more serious topic. And it will mostly be me informing Lewis about it and telling him about the measures to put into place.
Our last topic will be gaming trends, which will be positioned towards the end of the radio show. This will be before the last song, ad, and outro. This segment is slightly shorter than the other two, but it will have more of a fast-paced debate feel to it, as there are lots of opinions and sides within gaming trends. We'll be also talking about new consoles and trends and how they compete with each other, whilst keeping it short and simple, so that people won't feel overwhelmed when talking about it and listening to it. We've then decided on our music choices, and we've gone with a mix of popular songs that are slightly older and newer songs which are still quite popular but may not have hit their peak in trendiness. Songs like Avicii's Wake Me Up, which I feel is very well known. I think everyone, when they hear it, will know it. They will have heard it before. And our songs they're not sad songs. They're more songs that are slightly energetic, or songs that will help you wake up in the morning. Because we're a breakfast show, we want to try and have that sort of get up and go feeling, which is what inspired our name. Adverts, we've gone with one 25-second advert and one 30-second advert. One of them being the Tesco price drop advert, which we will play for you now. We've chosen these adverts because even though we're in a situation where not going out is the norm, you will find that people will still go to mainstream shops like Tesco's because they are essential. You need to go to these shops, and having adverts for them is still beneficial. And because of that, they do fit in with current trends. And we've gone with 2 because having one would feel a bit awkward in trying to find a position for it. Not only that, but students would know both of these companies and would be familiar with them already. So having adverts about them is they will understand who they are already.
Our news will be a mix of local and celebrity news. This allows us to cover areas of relevance to young adults, but also can include local news. This allows us to keep it brief. It also allows us to cater for our target audience. Our primary target audience will be aged from 16 to 22, and it will be gender neutral. We will appeal through social media, and the psychographic category will be Explorer. For our secondary target audience, they will be aged 22 to 28, each male gender, and its psychographic category will be Reformer. We will appeal in the same way for primary audience, but more workplace and life. We will do a guest phone in. Sound effects and stingers will be included, and they will be from the internet and used throughout the show. We've also discussed having a stinger to be a video game sound to complement the techie theme.
If you'd have any questions, feel free to ask.
Okay, thanks very much. Could I just ask our observers if you would like to go first with the question?
For the first topic, who's going to be the phone-in?
It's someone from outside the college, and someone who's close to me, who I will have phone in.
How are we going to transition from mental health to gaming?
Well, one of our songs is slightly slower and sadder.
Yeah, there's going to be songs in between each of those topics.
So we'll position, I believe it's Sam Smith Diamonds after it to sort of slowly ease it back in instead of just instantly swapping and having a complete mood change, which might be a bit jarring to the audience.
Mm-hmm. And one other question, how is your music going to be suitable for your target audience? Because the target audience usually, wouldn't they expect a more upbeat music to stay interactive with your show?
Well, you mentioned how they're recognizable as everyone of this demographic. Most people in college will know these artists or will know the songs whether or not they listen to the artist. And that was the general goal of it. So it's not just aimed at one specific category of people. It's more like a broad, everyone will know this.
Mm-hmm. And when you have the phone in, what sort of questions will you be asking based on your show?
The questions we are planning to ask them will be more of a, what do you have? Would you consider trying? And they'll be related back to what the main topic is, which is having a healthy breakfast. So asking them, would they consider trying new things in order to attempt to have a healthy breakfast.
Yeah.
Questions
So
like
the
that.
sorry.
Oh.
Were you saying something, Lewis?
Oh, I just said questions like that.
How is the person that's phoning in? How is he related? How is the person relatable inside your radio show? Like, have they got any type of experience, or how are they important?
They have a level 3 catering degree, which will help to provide points in how a food is healthy and a bit more of the science behind it. But also, they're also within our primary target audience. So they're going to have the views of someone who we're aiming for, as well as the degree.
So
Yeah.
they're kind of an expert guest.
Yes, basically.
Right.
Mm.
That's a good resource to have. And just to pick up and interject there, because obviously I know Luke is wanting to ask a question next, but you said about a phone in of someone. So are you going, could you have more than one person phoning in with their different, so that it's like a vox pop. So you've got a few different people saying what they eat for breakfast.
We could, but the only problem would be time constraints. So if we have multiple people in discussing their opinions along with what we need to say or what we might want to say might be a bit difficult to fit into a small degree. But then if we large it out, we'll have to shorten down every other topic.
Push the time frame. It's just the way that you said it's a phone in. You normally have more than one. So I would kind of phrase it as, well, we've got an expert to talk. We're interviewing and he's going to talk about breakfast, rather than it's just callers phoning in and going, oh, I eat marshmallows and salt and vinegar crisp for breakfast. And then your expert going, no, don't eat that. That's a terrible way to start the day. You know what I mean? Like, if you want that interactivity, you need the kind of maybe the more extreme ones, and maybe one or two at least, rather than just one person. Because then you feel like, okay, we're asking our callers, but they could be just literally, oh yeah, my name's Sam. I'm, do art, and I don't ever have breakfast, and then your person could comment and talk about that, and then your next person would be like, oh well, this is what I eat, something very poncy or something. So do you know what I mean? If you want, it's either a call in or just an expert talking about breakfast, and with the presenters. So choose one or the other and be clear on it. Don't try and do both, because as you say, it might be too much time. Luke, your question?
I was gonna ask, are they going? Is the whole thing going to be scripted, or are you going to wing it, like kind of wing it a bit?
Ad lib it.
Ad lib it, yeah.
We mentioned that pretty much all of it will be ad libbed aside from the mental health part.
Yeah, and the intro and outro will also be scripted.
Because the point of the radio show is to be a conversation.
Yeah, it's supposed to be approached like you would approach a conversation. It's to get you to think about people's opinions. And consider what other people may think.
So you're going to try and engage your audience with that?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
And how? How are you engaging your audience?
I think having different opinions on certain subjects can help to get people interested, but also hearing someone say something that you wouldn't have expected could also do the exact same. And
so could you bring that in as a fake kind of this person has messaged in, or this person has, and read out, so it's not as time consuming, so you get kind of reactions from your listeners, even if it's fake, that you've just made it up. But you could say, oh, we've just had a Snapchat message from, or we've just had an email from so and so, and they said, do you know what I mean? Because if you want to get that audience going, that interaction, then you need to kind of bring them in maybe in somewhere else.
That's food for thought. It's good.
Yeah. So it's Luke. Is that what you were talking about?
Yeah.
Maybe we could have that after music, because I've noticed that BBC Radio does that.
Yeah. Or request or bring it in.
Yeah, we
That's
could
it.
have a phone in saying that this person requests this song, and which will be the song that we play after the next segment. We just kind of make up that this person wanted it.
Making up audience interaction.
Yeah.
So it's more real.
Yeah, just again to reflect, what a professional show would be like. They'd have those elements. I'm a bit concerned about your Tesco's advert, just because, I think it is relevant. I understand your point that, everyone is shopping at supermarkets because there's nowhere else to shop at the moment.
Yeah.
But there's such big brands. I think with a college radio station, they'd probably be more likely to advertise local businesses.
Right.
Because that would give them maybe some funding towards the radio station. Or a local service might be more pertinent than a big chain. But that's but to make sure that you go for something. I like the fact you went for something that's an audio advert, rather than TV ones, because they're constructed very differently. So it's good to see that. Renika, you've been a bit on the quiet side, so I wanted to ask you examples of the types of stories you might have in your news program. What kinds of stories would you have in terms of local news and celebrity news?
I don't have any for celebrity news, but I have a lot for local news. The new college building and the vaccine.
Yeah, so what, like local figures in terms of how many people have been vaccinated?
Probably.
Okay. I think it's important to know the kinds of stories that you might be talking about for your local news. But yeah, I love the fact that you're talking about the new build, because obviously that's relevant for college students, because it's going to affect their day-to-day life. So that would be definitely a good story. We've had a bit of news on that today. So, it's definitely moving forward, with the build. So I think, that would be very topical, especially in 6 weeks' time when you come back. Fingers crossed. It would have been useful to have some examples of stingers and effects that you would be using, and the kind of music beds. I think the music beds, again, you were talking about setting a very different mood between the serious topics and more light-hearted topics. So maybe put some thought into the actual bed, and it would have been quite nice to kind of hear that. I like the fact that you're talking about a different tone for the mental health one. I think you can still get away with ad-libbing some of it, have very clear bullet points. The introduction would be scripted, I can totally see that. But again, you might not want to have it too feel like it's too read out. There'd be a lot to memorize, so you can have it ad-libbed, but very kind of tightly ad-libbed, so very key points, and definitely the intro. The intro scripted. Other feedback, Toiba?
Was one more I wanted to ask about. I think it was the secondary target audience. You said that it would be the same way that you would cater to your primary audience's need, but more workplace and life lesson. Like, what do you mean by that?
Focusing on it, because the main psychographic group was reformers. They want security, and so if we're talking about breakfast, we want to give them ideas for breakfast that will help them feel secure, like they're helping their body more by having this, and sort of trying to get them to try new things, well, pushing them out of their boundaries, but also keeping them feeling safe as reformers.
So it's like the primary audience is is specifically to college students and their life in college, whereas the secondary audience is kind of giving them advice for life in general.
Yeah.
And not just college.
Okay then.
Okay.
So do you guys have like a
Sorry,
like
Sarah?
a running order.
I did not catch that. Sorry.
Have you guys like decided on your running order then?
Yeah, we've got a rough running order at the moment, which we need to just refine down and get the exact timings for. But we've got a rough build. Like we discussed that our breakfast was going to be our first major bit, and then we're going to have a song, and then we're going to have our next bit and then a song, and then our last bit and then a song for finish. I think that's our main base.
Is that gonna last the whole 30 minutes then?
But we've also got news.
Yeah, we've also got news and 2 advertisements. Along with intro and outro, it's enough to fill 30 minutes.
I think it'd be useful to have the running order in the PowerPoint presentation, just to see the overall structure, even if that was, okay, this is our first draft.
Yeah.
And again, it would have been nice to have seen a bit more of your research of where your target audience ideas have come from to draw, to draw that together. So that's just constructive kind of feedback for thinking about future presentations to consider as well. I'll address this to Reniko, because again, I want to give you the opportunity to say a bit more, Reniko. What do you think the strongest element of your show is, Reniko? And have you got a unique selling point?
Probably the strongest would be the conversation about the news, because there's so much things going on over the last few months.
Yeah, I think it's to make it interesting and different, because a lot of it has all been COVID, and I think people are sick of it, and they're going to be even more sick of it in 6 weeks' time. So it's how to put a unique spin on it and how to make it, grab people's attention and feel new and relevant.
We already have a section specifically for COVID. So I remember we talked about before having the news part be about the new building in Barnfield.
Oh, good. So that's going to be more of the emphasis.
So more of a campus-focused news, because that is a convention of student radio as well.
Yeah, that really reassures me. Thanks. That is good to know. And just very quickly, each of you, is there one piece of target audience research that you found useful that tied into your plans for your show?
I looked into how they sell themselves in advertising. I can't have had some feedback for myself. I looked into advertising and where radio shows will go to put themselves out, which was helpful because when we first looked at target audience, we didn't have much of an idea of where radio shows would go to put themselves out.
So to promote their shows. So you mean to promote their shows?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So, and social media, what ideas did you have for social media of how to promote?
Based on how our show is based, I feel like our show would have something on the lines of, say, an Instagram page that puts out, say, daily content on what's going on behind the scenes, or like parts of in the show that you wouldn't be able to see, but then you can see. Yeah,
makes it more visual. Make sure you mention that then in your script and say, check out our Instagram page. Don't forget, we posted this. We've all posted our breakfast this morning. Check it out. We want to see your breakfast. So again, that's interactive, and again, it's promotion as well. That's cool. Okay, Courtney. Your piece of research that tied into target audience and helped with your ideas for the show.
Wait, what research specifically?
Yeah, did you have any research that was particularly useful for coming up with ideas for your show and or confirmed your target audience?
Well, I did focus on psychographics a bit and the significances of looking into them.
And what did you find?
I found that it isn't just like looking narrow at an audience. It kind of cuts down data into like a very specific handful of people that you can study a lot closer to aim your content to be more directed towards.
Kind of builds up a picture of that, who that audience is.
So it's a more narrow-minded view of everyone who will be the most interested in your radio show.
And did you look at Generation Z or Z? Did you look at that element?
A little bit. I looked at another name for it being iGen, because of how we revolve around technology.
Yeah.
And that kind of fits the whole techie trio kind of thing.
Yeah. Oh, that's nice. That ties in. And Reniko, one piece of research that you have utilised coming up with ideas for your show?
I've researched the trends of gaming, such as mobile gaming and the new 2 game consoles coming out.
And what specifically has that told you that you can include?
Can you repeat that again?
Yes, specifically, can you give me examples of what that will kind of, how you will utilise that in the feature? Have you got any particular kind of discussion points that you've taken from that research?
Suggest the most popular mobile games to play.
Okay. And you said about debates. What is one of the debates that is currently in terms of gaming trends? Is there something that will give you a little bit of
Xbox? People have been debating which one is better.
Okay, yeah. So that gives you a bit of a point of contention or a bit of drama. Okay, thank you, Reniko, and thank you, group. Luke, just to finish off, what's your general impression of the pitch?
I think it was good, but they could have went into slightly more detail on certain things.
Okay, such as?
The bit where they said they're going to talk about the stuff, I would have liked if they said they went into the topics, like, I don't know, like the mental health bit, I think. Like what certain bits of mental health in particular they would talk about.
And maybe some quotes or some specific questions?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I think that's a very good point. Thank you very much. And just to end on a positive, Toba, what would you think the strength of the presentation was?
I think like the best part for me was I guess it would be like the mental health during the pandemic bit. So like talking about how people would feel during this pandemic, and specifically young people, since people are more focusing on older people and how they're more vulnerable to the virus.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's the impact on younger people makes it relevant. And Sabaya, anything to finish up on? Strength of the presentation?
Strength. I think they should reconsider the advert, the Tesco advert, because Tesco is something the audience would already be familiar with. I think maybe including like something more beneficial and educational.
Like a resource or a service or something. Okay.
Yeah.
I think that's a good point. And a positive note?
A positive note, I think they know the initial idea. They've just got a few tweaks
to refine. Tweaks to make, okay. And no twerking, please. Okay, and yeah, I echo that. I think there's lots of really good ideas in there. I think I love the way that you thought about the structure, being lighthearted and then more serious. I like the name. I think you've got a lot of ideas, but yeah, some of it just needs a bit of refining down of actually how it will take shape. Okay, I thank you very, very much. Well done, group. You can complete there.